The Bloomberg 50 is out. From finance to politics to entertainment and, of course, tech. Bloomberg Business Week is highlighting the people who have defined global business in 2017. This is the 7th year of the Bloomberg 50 and the 2nd year it has appeared in Bloomberg Business Week. Our Bloomberg Business Week editor, Megan Murphy, joins us now to tell us who made the cut in tech. So, Megan, who made the cut in tech?
Well, someone you've just been talking about there. Elon Musk made the cut in tech. Obviously, the Boring Company is getting a lot of attention. Being from Chicago, I'm personally thrilled to hear about that transit link between O'Hare and the city. But look, when you look at what he did this year in terms of both in the rocket space as well as in the driverless autonomous vehicle space, he was a clear choice for us. And he's someone who, even when we tried to make the list where you get rid of the usual suspects, he still stands out. Another someone who we thought about as the usual suspect, but definitely made the cut this year, Jeff Bezos, of course, Amazon, the Washington Post, and now potentially the total reinvention of the food and the grocery market with that stunning move into Whole Foods in that space. I think we're all watching to see what shakes out there. Just two of the people who stand out from tech as well.
Other tech notables: Masayoshi Son, founder of SoftBank, making big moves, trying to negotiate a big stake in Uber as we speak. Diane Greene, senior vice president and cloud chief at Google. David, what do you make of these picks?
I think they're great picks. I think it's maybe the first list of this type I've seen in a long time that didn't include Mark Zuckerberg on it. That's got to be controversial. I'd be curious what Megan has to say about why they left him off.
So that's a very good point. And when we were compiling this, I want to be really clear about what we want is true. When we want to get into this space, we want to say, okay, we don't want this to just be the people who you read about every year. And I think Mark Zuckerberg could have been a possible candidate this year simply because for what Facebook didn't do in putting in safeguards in terms of you look at the safeguarding the democratic process, what they've done and investigating. Who we do have on the flip side of Mark Zuckerberg is actually Russian botnets and looking into what they've done in terms of driving the conversation in 2017. Mark Zuckerberg does make our usual suspects list, but in terms of who really influenced and drove the conversation in 2017, we looked at, Russia's influence potentially on our democratic process and the democratic process elsewhere as well. Masayoshi Son, I'm really glad you brought that up. As you guys talk about all the time, we're incredibly fascinated to see where he goes. Obviously, the Uber stake is one big thing, but also where else is this money going to go? Is it the sign of an ultimate bubble, or is this just money that is going to be driving the trends, the innovations, the AI of tomorrow, where he's going to go with that? And the particular thing I want to pick out about him, the photography in this issue and really capturing him, I think it's one of the best spreads on him I've ever seen.
Curious about the Diane Greene pick. Obviously, she's the co-founder of VMware. She's running Google's cloud business, which, has actually, some thought struggled for a long time. It is gaining ground, but AWS is really the giant in the room. Why Diane?
Well, you've also been discussing just earlier about another Diane coming on as well now from Intel. When we looked at this list, we wanted to pick out some of the people who, as I said, are driving sort of the next iteration of these companies, and tech is no different than finance. And we feel Diane, in terms of cloud and what they're doing and the ambitions of that business and its coreness in terms of where we're moving, not only in the next year, but in the next 10 years, that she's really at the forefront of that. And she's someone who, and this was a big aspiration of this list, if you don't know who these people are now, you should. And she's one of the names that we think really was at the top of that category of people of you should know this person, and they are driving the conversation. They're driving the way you live, the way your business works in ways that you don't even know about right now.
Indeed. You should know Diane Greene. I agree, Megan. David, final thoughts. Obviously, this is the kind of list these things shift every year, but our effort here is to bring it forward and look at what's happening next and who will be driving those future business transformations.
Yeah, well, there's some great names on there, like Bobby Kotick of Activision, who's one of my favorite people in the industry, and his company, it's in gaming. It somehow doesn't get mentioned as often as I think it deserves to be mentioned. He is a great leader. He's built the company, grown it tremendously. Its stock has been performing fantastically. I was really pleased to see him get some credit. I agree. Musk, everything Musk does is all about climate change in the end. And I find that fascinating, and I think he deserves a lot of plaudits for that. Regardless of the valuation issues or whatever, he's a unique, superb leader in society. And Diane Greene, too. There's somebody I've been following for many, many years, and she doesn't get much attention at all. And she is one of the major definers of the world we're living in right now. So it's a great list. I got to credit you guys, Megan. Terrific.
Thank you so much.